Well, hello YouTube, it's me Fortmaster, and welcome back to another The Black Pants Legion with more Battletech and Mechwarrior lore. This is the next video in the Tex Talks Battletech series, and it is the Catapult. So the last video was about the Mad Cat, which was the super advanced omni-heavy mech from the clans. The Catapult, I really have to wonder, because like with that really... Granted, I mean, the Mad Cat's name was made because it couldn't figure out what somebody was targeting. The Thor was just, the Thor and the Summoner. Urban Mech was called that because, it was designed for, urban warfare. Catapult, that very much makes me think that this mech is very much designed for long-range fire. At least I hope so, unless the name is a misnomer and it's supposed to be like in melee combat just because, So, honestly, again, have no idea what this, the Catapult is going to be like, so let's see what it actually is and what it can do. So, yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen that for some reason. Corner video, link to my Let's Play of the day, and if you like this video or any other video that I make, I'd very much appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe to my channel, because, the vast majority of people who watch my content aren't actually subscribed, and I'd very much like that to change, because I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers this year. I mean, if Social Blade says it's possible, I'm going to believe him. But yeah, we'll hold that out of the way. Let's get this thing started then, shall we? Jeez. Whoa, wow, what is that from?
Howdy folks, Tex of the Black Pants Legion here, and here we are again, on Tex Talks Battletech.
Catapult.
Personally, I've been getting a lot of
Or in 2 years.
by trash-talking the clans incessantly. So, I'll start with this. I'll be nice and say the following clans were mostly okay. Mostly.
Mostly, okay.
For the most part. See? There's a list. Enjoy.
Clan Wolf, yeah. Clan Ghost Bear. Football. Clan Wolverine. Clan Coyote. Clan Diamond Shark. Hell's Horses. Engineered Tuesday Award. Clan Smoke
And
Jaguar.
there we go.
Some of those names.
Shit talking mostly over for now, as I can already hear the keyboard warriors blazing a path of hate in the comments below. So let's move on to the meat of this episode, while they're busy losing their goddamn minds. This episode is about the Catapult, which, believe it or not, even though it's a niche mech, I really like. As chosen by the polls, we're discussing the Catapult. You would have seen these polls if you had notifications turned on, or had them not disabled by YouTube. Because
yeah.
YouTube these days makes as much sense as casting John Wayne as Genghis Khan. Yeah, that actually happened. Also watch people start posting about how the Conqueror killed John Wayne because of the Downwinders nuclear test controversy.
Oh, God, honestly. The funny thing is, I haven't seen a lot of John Wayne movies. I mean, granted, he's a bit before my time. But from everything I've seen and heard, John Wayne was one of those actors where you didn't hire him to play a role so he could play the role. You hired him to play a role because you wanted John Wayne in your movie.
But this ain't a top 10 video, so put that shit away for now. In short, yes, I listen to my fan base. Yes, I read the comments. Yes, I allow you guys to steer this series. So this is partially your fault. Enjoy the blame. So back to the main point. Bearing in mind I don't want my editor to sue me for Battletech-induced psychosis.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm having a great time. This is just... Don't fucking touch me!
Let's keep this diatribe as focused as we can while hitting the important points. Yes, that means I may not be covering your super custom retrofit battlefield version that has 60 MGs for killing squirrels. You'll be okay.
60 MGs at that point, that's not for killing squirrels. That's just for getting rid of the whole tree. You just like, it's like you have a piece of wood and you just have to take a belt sander to it and just grind it down into sawdust. But honestly, like, I'm looking at this and like, I saw though in the first picture they had like, I assume like the big missile pods on the shoulders, whatever those are called. But I'm seeing these where like, these have to be like lasers of some kind and they look really cool.
Probably. Or not. Again, I hear a sea of keyboards rising in protest. Calm thyselves, ye majestic nerd herd. We'll get
You
through
know
this,
that's a losing
and we'll
battle.
get through
Don't
this
waste the
together.
breath.
For the purposes of the Catapult, we start like most good stories, at the very beginning. The year is 2561, and the Terran hegemony still exists. That's pre-Star League for those of you not in the know.
Jeez, okay, so this is an
galaxy
old
we will
model.
explore more fully in this series is still in its infancy. Star League won't exist for another 9 years. These are the crazy early years of Terran-centric government and warmongering. So the initial run of catapults was made from 2561 to 2563 by Hollis Incorporated to fulfill defense contracts for the Terran hegemony, but sadly, when the contract came up for negotiation and renewal a few short years later, the hegemony said no.
Oh, okay.
This is not a reflection on the quality of the catapult. The catapult is fucking awesome. I need you to understand something, though. Something about military bureaucracy and government contracting.
Yep.
Governments don't always make good choices when it comes to the procurement of weapons. You see, most government defense contracts are somewhat decided by committees and corruption. For every weapon system in development, there's a long road to consider. There's red tape. Bullshit. More bullshit. Red tape. Graft. 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 The military-industrial complex. Graft. Payouts in briefcases. Graft and, of course, graft. And like a graham cracker crust, it's all baked in the warm embrace of corruption. I'm, of course, referring to fictional accounts, because surely this does not take place in the real world. That would be far too much to take, to assume that those in charge of these supremely expensive programs would then inherit lucrative private sector jobs after everything was greenlit. And as well,
God, that movie.
there's the consideration that Hollis made the Battlemaster, which was better received by those in the professional stompy death machine business, despite being nearly the very definition of underwhelming.
Okay.
Even though initially only produced for 3 fucking years. The Catapult was widely fielded by the hegemony and the Star League Defense Forces after that in a fire support capacity.
Okay, so I was right.
What's fire support, you ask?
Artillery!
Well, that's the military term for the guy who stands in the back, kill-stealing while the rest of you soak up returning fire. Oh, fine. I guess you want a visual aid to understand this. No worries, fam. I got you.
Oh, what the?
So now that you
Okay.
understand more about what a catapult does, and about the inner sphere method of waging war badly, let's get back into our history books. So when the Star League had itself a proper civil war, collapsing like a cardboard house in a hurricane, SLDF commander, all-around mostly decent person Alexander Kerensky decided to leave the inner sphere to its own devices, taking with him the bulk of the military, including most of the catapults, which then left the lowly Capellans holding the lion's share of the remaining stockpiles.
Really? Okay.
You see, Hollis Incorporated ran a modest factory in Capellan space, cranking out a handful of new models and spare parts for them. A modest boon for the Capellan state, which ended during the First Secession War. I'd love to do a series on the Secession Wars as a whole, but let me have a moment to explain the following to you.
Okay, so I've already, it was actually one of the very first things I ever reacted from the Black Pants Legion where they talked about the Civil War. So how does the Secession War play into this? Oh, honestly, some of these videos are so long. Like the one on the war, I'm scrolling up the playlist, and the one on the Warhammer is 2 hours long!
In the First Succession War, many things outright disappeared from the inner sphere. Things like civility, social development, industrial competence, justice, long lifespans, ethical considerations for your fellow man, reason, millions of people, housing, environments, planetary ecosystems holding people responsible for their actions, rule of law laws, the greatest majority of jump ships, and nearly every warship in existence, hundreds of years of industrial golden age, and lastly, the Hollis factory.
Geez, okay. And from what I remember, I thought the Civil War was bad. The Succession War sounds like they sucked.
From that point on, the catapult remained a relative rarity. For a time, anyways.
Then I guess this is until the clans came back.
This time, war destroyed so much of the industrial base that invasions often hinged on who could secure steel and utilize the greatest number of production spares. It wasn't until hundreds of years later, in 3033, that the catapult began to emerge in significant numbers again, as the Draconis Combine decided to restart domestic mass production. By the time the clan came to strike at the inner sphere, they found centuries-old catapults to be still fielded, some examples having survived generations of pilots, bad ideas, and failed governments. Despite the abuse, neglect, and damage, they still work. Even out in the periphery, there were surviving examples of the original production run, kept running by God knows what space magic.
Technical
but
manual.
Still defiantly there and doing their job. So why would people use something so obviously ancient, antiquated, and simple?
Because it works. I mean, when you get down to it, why do people still use swords and knives in some instances? Can't get simpler than, poke something with a sharp and pointy stick. God, at this point, how old is the design for the American 50 cal? It's over 100 years old at this point. I don't think they've changed the design for it, at all.
Well, because it fucking works, dum-dum.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get down to why. Nothing, and I mean nothing, about the catapult is particularly complicated. It's a cockpit on legs that shoots missiles out of boxes. That's pretty much it.
Honestly, the only way I can imagine you make that better is replace it, honestly, there's the laser bees. I did nuclear attack bees. Okay, I wasn't paying attention there. But honestly, I gotta just imagine you change this and put a pair of artillery cannons with their associated magazines and you're firing rockets, your artillery. It's just boom, 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 boom. Just see giant drum mags just rotating into place on the cannons. That'd be really cool.
It's a walking MLRS. And because those missile boxes are detachable, people tend to slap whatever fits on the shoulders. That means the catapult is sometimes also a cockpit on legs that shoots other things out of boxes or other attachments or whatever.
As you do.
It's also fairly moddable because the inner sphere has zero design standard when it comes to this sort of thing. Because in the inner sphere, if you can afford to do it, you will probably do it. The standard catapult is a 65-ton machine that's moderately maneuverable, jump jet capable, and carries 10 tons of armor. It also carries 2 LRM-15s and 4 medium lasers. Again, thanks to being unsophisticated, many of these war machines were kept running through a total dark age of technology, as their engines and weapons systems required no great expertise to manufacture, repair, or replace.
Yeah, I mean, if it
Before
works.
you say, yeah, so what? I want you to think on something
Clamor,
really
probably.
quick. Imagine making a fusion engine that could withstand several hundred years of bad maintenance by Billy Joe Bob, using nothing more complex than half a toolbox and a 4th grade education. Yeah, the catapult is impressive. Also, to be fair, I have to say this, being that everyone liked them and wanted to keep them running, coupled with an ease of modification, the catapult has variants.
Of
It
course.
has so many variants.
I mean, I remember thinking the Mad Cat had a lot of variants. So given that, the catapult basically focuses on long-range fire support, I'm going to imagine, with a simplicity of emission like that, like you can basically put anything on it, and as long as it has long enough range, it's just mission successful.
It has so many variants that my editor would shoot rock salt into his eyes out of a shotgun if I made him list them all. So let's just touch on the, quote, design philosophy, unquote, of catapult modification.
Okay.
Here goes. 1. If it fits, it works.
Okay, keep it
2.
simple, stupid.
If it works, do it. 3. Fuck you, it's a catapult. 4. You're not my mom. I do what I want. Okay, now let's agree on those principles
Okay.
and say there are variants of the catapult that make sense, or more sense than others. Like the C-1B variant for the Royal SLDF regiments, having double heat sinks and ferrofibrous armor plus case to ensure it doesn't explode for 80 days when you hit it. Makes sense. The Royal Regiments having wanted a premium catapult experience, so they got the fancy armor and the non-shit heat sinks.
Okay,
There's
cool.
also the C3 model, which puts Aero 4 artillery in place of LRMs, because what's better than big missiles? Bigger fucking missiles, of course.
I mean, that comes at the cost of the number of targets you can hit, but it does ensure that when you do actually hit a target, they won't be there anymore.
And that statement makes sense. And if it makes sense to you, guess what?
Makes sense to the catapult.
You're a catapult pilot. Then there's what Curated did. Turn a missile boat into a PPC brawler and add more heat sinks, delete the jump jets, and whatever. I mean, these guys make great strategic choices. Oh, Curated. Never change.
God, why does the evil shogunate have to be
There's
so evil?
some really fascinating builds, though. Like the H2, which came out of the periphery. Turns out
course.
being cut off from everyone and with limited access to spares meant that you put whatever fits into the mech and just go with it. Like a club sandwich drunkenly made from leftover groceries, the H2 has a bit of everything. PPC? Check. Medium lasers?
Yeah,
Check.
okay.
8 rocket launcher 20s? Sure, why not? Again, catapult
Hey.
philosophy. If it fits in those mounts, fucking do it.
If I fit,
And
I said.
here's where we boil down to why this thing is so damn useful.
Okay, so the catapult is essentially a cat. Okay, got it.
Name me a weapon system that worked for 500 years with mediocre upkeep and maintenance at best, and still survives as a beloved instrument of warfare centuries after it was built. Name me a weapon system that has spawned invasions just to capture its spare parts. Name me a design philosophy that's so constant over the centuries that it's copied endlessly to the point that Well, now that the intertube tough
I
guys
didn't
are
notice the
distracted
Mad Cat
writing a
does
thesis
share.
below, starting
Okay.
with beloved, well, actually, I can move on. Also,
Okay.
fuck you, clanners. I was nice earlier. You want me to take your trophy away? No, you don't, because it's nice and it makes you feel important, like your sense of honor and questionable dress code. I normally don't make fun of how people dress, but I look like an extra from the Duluth Trading Company catalog, and, well, you guys look worse than that. Seriously. You think you'd fight people less if you felt better about yourselves, maybe. Just thinking out loud here.
Mental health is
Okay,
always
moving
important.
At 5.7 million space bucks, you don't have to be a genius to see the value in one. As well, chances are the previous owner has either 1, worked out all the problems long before now, or 2, died in the process of stupid modifications, so you know what not to do. This is a win-win for any checkbook. And as well, you could afford to throw these things 4-to-1 against any Mad Cat or similar level threat, as the Inner Sphere and Periphery did. God bless you, Inner Sphere. So, if you're interested in knowing more about this universe, please check out the link below or at the end of this video for another content creator's perspective. I think you'll appreciate what insight and knowledge he has about Battletech, and that he definitely seems to give a genuine fuck about the setting, and isn't a tourist trying for quick views before moving on. If instead you want to read along, Sarna.net is an amazing resource and probably the best fan wiki on the internet. Fuck you, Wikipedia. You have an entry on water. Water. With a list of fucking appearances where you will find water. What the fuck? Anyways.
Wikipedia actually had what? Really? Okay, I know I know I know wikis can get odd sometimes, but really, water? Who are you making that for?
Sarna good. Support Sarna, please. I'm strangely already in Wikipedia, but if I could make it into Sarna, I'd really consider my life complete. Please don't edit me in there, because that's a dick move. I need to earn that spot the correct way, by being an asshole. Speaking of, wrapping up here, I'm gonna say this. I love my fans, and I enjoy the spirited debate that erupts in the comments below, regardless of what I bitch about. Remember, we all love the same things, which is this awesome setting. Let's keep things civil and respectful. Unless you're a Smoke Jaguar. Hey, Smoke Jaguar, when you had a clan.
Okay, I'm going to imagine they don't exist anymore.
Wow. Well, now that that's handled, next up is a space story. And after
Space
that,
story?
A poll decided. So yeah. And now a word
How much
from
of this
our
video is there
sponsors.
left? Oh, geez, this goes on for a while. Okay.
What an asshole. Oh, hey, didn't even see you come in there, which is scary because you could have murdered me. I'm the editor, and I just got 2 things. One, I have a Twitch channel called The Courtesy Flush, where I hang out with my buddies on a couch and we play video games together. It's a very quiet, comfy stream. That is until Tex comes and interrupts the stream with his stories about how he gave a clown leukemia on Space Station 13 for the 10th time.
I'm coming through the TV.
You are.
Wow. Television. I am the power of television. I will destroy you with the power of my voice.
Also, thank you so much for being supportive of this kind of content. And also, since Tex is an asshole, I've decided to do this. This is his Mechwarrior online ID. Feel free to find him, harass him, and shoot him in the face. And even send him some of the worst mechs you could think of. If you're a clanner, don't send him an urban mech. He has hundreds of those things. He likes them a lot for some reason. Anyway, you guys have fun out there.
They're not like any battle mechs I've ever seen.
Your insolence has provoked the fury of the clans. Prepare to be
Oh
destroyed.
god, this cartoon.
Hi, this is Discount Dan of Discount Dan's newly incorporated and not at all illegitimate spare parts emporium. The last place burned down in a freak accident / tax avoidance scheme that's not quite made it to the courts yet, so I'm gonna pass these savings on to you. Now you might be saying, Discount Dan, did you sell catapults? Well yes, I did, until a man came in and said he wanted a hunchback, and I was so excited, until he started screaming profanity and using my inventory to shoot at my inventory and customers. Turns out, he was crazy, or it was a neurohelmet malfunction.
What?
Or maybe I was negligent and failed to make sure ammo wasn't in the hopper, pop gun goes off, excitement happens, whatever, irrelevant. I'm not here to dwell on the past. Let's talk about the savings I can pass on to you today. We got the world's largest supply of gently used catapult parts, bits, pieces, shrapnel, scrap, and firefighting equipment. You might be asking yourself, Discount Dan, why all this stuff and why the hard sale? Well, I'll level with you. I'm in kind of a hurry because any minute now.
Sir, I've warned you about this.
Urban Mech.
Stand by for incarceration procedures. Just don't resist.
Shit, run! But not too fast. It's only an urban mech.
Sir, you cannot outrun a radio.
I'm a free man traveling the land. I'm recording you. I'm gonna sue you. I'm beyond your laws. I'm a free man traveling. I'm a citizen of the sphere. Call your supervisor.
It's a fantastic game.
Say, my man, what are you doing? Hey, Rollo, what's happening, man? Look here, I want to ask you a question. Does that look like wild parsley to you? You mean that marijuana?
Oh, well, this is a Gluger. You will find that once long ago,
Gluger?
people bought guns for their aesthetic value rather than any practical purpose. They shared images, if you would, on a very primitive internet. And they never shot their firearms despite collecting massive arsenals. It's worth about 50 C-bills.
Aufklärungswander, Herr HQ. Status frei. Kommen.
Are you telling me that the next 7 minutes of this are just nothing but memes? And then there's also seemingly a lot of credits. You know, we'll keep watching for the memes. I'll cut out the Patreon credits.
Hier Friedrich 1. Keiner weiß, dass wir hier sind. Ich bin auf den Gouverneur getreten. Die Aufklärung läuft hervorragend.
Battletech is such a weird setting. Oh, this looks like it would be made by the Morgs, not the Morgs, the Orcs and Warhammer. Okay, so I mean, I watched this for the lore. I'm not gonna sit through, like, what is this, like 7 minutes of credits, even if it would be funny. But yeah, that was absolutely great. And I mean, 500 years of the same design. I mean, granted, from what I've understood, you know, there are a couple more things like that, but the fact that this is, like, that you have such an old design that is still essentially in, you know, mass production and usage, this is absolutely nuts. I mean, that is truly, like, the 50 cal of this universe. It's nuts. But, so yeah, with all that out of the way, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.